Last Samhain, I was in the generous hospitality of the King Keelan of the Fianna. The hall was busy with people coming in and out with food and drink. Just when I was stepping forward to tell some tales, a person in a robe with the markings of the Fae walked straight past me, chilling me to the bone, and stood up to the fire. With head bowed, they said, "Hearken to tales of the healer of the White Bear, the lover, the honourable, and the mist Arturos." I heard Keelan gasp and shrink back in his chair, as if he knew this Fae and would not dare to interrupt. Some stood to move him, and Keelan, with a voice like thunder, said, "No, leave him, for he is a friend." The Fae looked around the fire, fixing people with a gaze, till they all sat to listen. With a crack in his voice he started. "A long time ago, while Kaskarak Tribeslayer was still High King, a peasant healer by the name of Arturos was sent to Culhaven by Candu, who was blessed of Bridget. For Candu could not be there for the fight he foresaw, nor, he thought, would Lady Daria. Arturos was sent with a message for the mighty and wise Bull of the Black Shields, who had been appointed Seneschal by Kaskarak. The message contained an apology for not being there, and an introduction that said Arturos was a pig healer, who was the best healer that Candu could find. Little was it understood at the time what those words foreshadowed. On the same night he arrived, Arturos saw his entire village, who had been driven mad by Bad Weird, attack Culhaven like a ravening pack, only to be slaughtered. Those who died were friends and their children, even unto those who he had helped birth. It left a permanent wound on his spirit that he never truly recovered from, yet his journey had only just begun. The face stood there, and looked like he was about to weep, so I offered him a drink, and to my surprise, the answer in a deep voice came back, "What would one such as me have with drink?" Then he shook his head, and pushed back his shoulders, and continued. Not long after he had arrived at Culhaven, a cry for help came to Culhaven from the sons and daughters of Ealdorman Odder, one of the heroes of the Battle of the Four Feathers. As the Ardry was not there, it fell to the heroes to choose. Prince Kai, later King Gwydion, of the Black Shields, was war leader and did not want to help Sice. But as they asked him for his help, his oaths meant he had to say yes. The heroes travelled to the Sice lands with the assistance of Morgana, the Winter Queen, and her helpers. None of the Sons of Mill should know the ways that they walked, or the price that was paid for them to take their weapons. Once in Sice lands, they were attacked by many of the Black Bear, who were berserk beyond reason. And after a while they spotted a figure crouched down on the hillside. The first who approached the figure was Ulf of the Norse, and he fell into a rage. He stormed back up the hill and attacked the heroes, who had to subdue him. All who approached the figure felt this rage, and all but one attacked the heroes. Even the mighty Slough Cull had to have hands and other things laid on him to subdue him. This meant he handed out many geases, including to Arturos. Unable to approach, the heroes moved on, and met three who had been touched by the weird. They told of a cup that could calm and soothe anyone. Well, good news, this was a problem, as it was held by Tom Hoddit and Shannon the Banshee, because it gave some solace to her. This cup could be used to approach the rage-inducing figure. So, equipped with the earplugs of moss that they had made themselves, the heroes approached, and Tom Hoddit ran away, closely followed by the retreat of Shannon. So the heroes took the cup, which they gave to the White Bear, and Claw used the cup to approach and heal the figure. The figure was the Crimson Bear Spirit, who had been wounded by the blade of the sundered bear sword, and who let Claw have the blade. On return to Culhaven, there was a feast, But people feared that Shannon would come to retrieve the cup, so they drank less and prepared earplugs. She did indeed come, radiating a freezing cold, asking all if they would be her solace to replace the cup. All backed away and would not answer, for they knew that such an oath meant no passing from the lands to the place over the spirit bridge. She got more and more angry until in her rage she swore that if the heroes would not swear, then she would kill the women and children. Arturos could not stand for this, especially so soon after the slaughter of his village. He went to Shannon and swore that if she was willing to wait, he would be her solace. She agreed to this and gave him a gem to seal the pact. That gem was the last missing piece of the bear sword. Claw offered Arturos riches and other things for the gem. Arturos, still a peasant at heart, as he was to his dying day, had no use of gems, so he gave it freely to Claw. Claw was so grateful, he named Arturos as a white bear, which is why, to his dying day, he was white bear, though dumnonni born. With a catch in his voice, he said, "Drink to the white bear for me." One who was in his cups asked, "Why?" and was fixed with a gaze, and, with a look of horror on his face, watched as his arm raised and his mouth open and he drank. Keelan himself stood and raised his horn and solemnly said, "To the white bear, some of the bravest that I have ever stood by." And so everyone drank and chorused, "To the white bear." The Fae bowed to acknowledge the toast, and shivered before he spoke again. He who was once Arturos became known as Fitch when he swore to the Morrigan. It was not an easy path, for some treated him with distrust as he healed with the name of the goddess of death. The Fae, though, never referred to him as that name, as to them it was an insult. Serving the Morrigan, though, had uses, as he gained weird from places where she had power, like a battlefield. This meant, as he told the people, most of Culhaven and its lands were sacred to her, and when he was there, he always felt the call of battle flow through him, even though he was a healer. His main aim in life was always to keep his friends and allies and fellow dumnonni and white bear alive. To do this, he would do anything, even if other healers would balk at his ways. Once, unable to heal due to a curse, he searched for a way to still heal the biggest of wounds, and the corpse goose goblin offered to teach him their ways of healing, which would bypass the curse. Though they were never friends of Culhaven, and had caused many of the wounds that he himself had had to heal, he said yes. The only problem he had was how to pay the female who taught him. He knew of their fascination with stones, and in spite of knowing the anger it would cause, he offered 2 stones from the washing place where the Morrigan washes the shirts of those due to fall in battle. How he got them is a tale by itself. So, he fixed the payment with such oaths as he could think of, but nonetheless paid the price. To say that the Morrigan was angry is like saying Baylor was a bit dangerous. She took all her power and markings from him, and would not talk to him or listen to his reasons. As he had only done this to continue to heal, he became filled with a righteous rage. He turned away from her like she had from him. He sent back to her the war belt with a symbol of her on it. He put her banner under a bed for it to be forgotten. He never knelt to her or her priests again. And, even more importantly, he threw away the name she had given him. Yet, he remembered his oath to her on the day that she gave him that name. She had told him that he had to end Shannon the Banshee. With his dying breaths, he accomplished this because even though she had turned her back on him, he still held to his word. He was always a man of friendship, heart, honour, healing, and his word. At this, he stopped, looked at Keelan, and exchanged nods, and with a whisper that only I heard, said, "A memory and a word hoard, a gift and a curse." Then, just as I was about to ask what he meant, he spun on a foot and walked right through me and disappeared as if he had only been a mist. It chilled me to the bone, left me aching, and left me also with these tales. I have taught these tales, and look forward with fear and longing to the next Samhain, where I pray 2 things, of which only one will come true. Either he comes and teaches me more, or someone else will also carry a burden and put tales into the word hoard. Since that day I cannot rest anywhere for long. While I have the energy and food, I must go on. I am driven by a vision in my dreams, that I will know rest when I sit under a weeping willow and tell the tales to it. So drink to Arturos, of the White Bear, a hero of Culhaven.